Shannon Sharp asked Katt Williams if he was related to Ludacris, and he said no. But something went on and went down when he and Ludacris went to an Illuminati party where their faith was in the balance. The powers that be was making a decision which one of them would succeed.
Both invited to an Illuminati thing, and it had to be one or the other of us, and decisions had to be made. So it was both of us, we were equal. One of us had to cut off all their hair and couldn't do the sideburn thing no more with the points. And the next person they said was going to get $200 million because they were going to pay him $10 million a movie to do 20 movies. And that's how the conversation happened. One of those persons turned out to be Ludacris, and the other person turned out to be Katt Williams.
So y'all think he was lying, or did it really happen? I don't know. My understanding is the Illuminati is like the mob, right? It's like the, secret society. Now you can't talk about it, and if you talk about it, something's going to happen to you. Well, Katt has been spilling tea, spilling the beans. Now we're going to see if anything is going to happen to him, because he letting out all the secrets, honey.
Get $200 million because they were going to pay him $10 million a movie to do 20 movies. And that's how the conversation happened. One of those persons turned out to be Ludacris, and the other person turned out to be Katt Williams.
Now, let me see if I got this right. They call Ludacris and they call Katt Williams into a meeting, right? And you have a whole bunch of heads on the top of the chain kind of thing. The bosses out there. And they look at the two of them sitting there on the chair and they says, okay, one of you is going to make it big. Which one? We can't decide. But this is what we want you to do in order for us to decide which one are you going to make it. Is that how it went? And then it told them the stipulations and the bylaws and everything they need to do in order to become a member of this secret society. It just sounds like lodge to me. Doesn't it sound like lodge, guys, to you all? I remember years ago, my father was in a lodge, and I remember the building. There were no windows. Everything was secret under wraps, and they dressed up like kings. And when they went to the lodge hall, they would wear the swords and all that. My father came out. I said to him one day, Daddy, what's the secret? And he says, I can't tell you because it's a secret. He never revealed what was going on in that lodge hall. So is this what it is, lodge, with all the signs and all the handshaking and all of that? That's all part of it. That's part of lodge. And these secret societies, they have it for the men as well as for the women. So now I'm thinking that's what people call the Illuminati, all these secret meetings that they have in the lodge halls. They ain't calling them a lodge anymore. They call them Illuminati. But pretty much in my mind it's the same thing, because whatever that goes on in there or you learn in there, you can't divulge, you can't tell nobody, but there are secret handshakes and symbols that they use that is required that they do when they see each other. If you recognize another large person, you're supposed to put up a symbol and they put it back, but it's supposed to be in secret, where nobody really knows what it means. But we see P. Diddy with all them triangles and all them symbols. That lets me know he's in a lodge, or some of you might want it to call it the Illuminati, but it ain't nothing more than a lodge hall with a bunch of guys sitting around trying to decide the fate of those below them. And if you have, for instance, the lodge may comprise of members in high society, movers and shakers. Like they said, some of the founding fathers were lodgemen. I call them lodgemen because I grew up with that word, but some of you may call it masonry. The masonry, some of the founders of America were in the masonry. In South America and other places around the world, they call it lodge.
One person ended up with a light-skinned, ugly-faced wife that's never done it. Remember I told you that if I say that, it applies to 7 people? Yes. It's part of what they give you. Okay? I didn't get it. I'm not mad about it. How much money they give? 200. Sir, Fast and Furious is on what number right now?
200 million. I might give me one of more women.
No, you don't, Club Shay Shay, because that comes with a price. Now, that's one price you may not be willing to bear or take, because I remember my father would always tell his friends that you can never get out of lodge. Once you join, it's for life until you die. That's the only way you can get out of it, death. Okay, so maybe the things that they do in lodge or these secret societies or the Illuminati or the Masonry, you might not be able to live with. Maybe you got a conscience. I don't know what they do, but whatever they do, it sure is a big secret that they can't even open up the windows. They don't even have windows. And if the windows are there, they shut it sealed because they don't want nobody peeking in. They don't want no type of nothing going out. And they have different rooms for different things. The initiation is, from my understanding, when you first join, you go into the lower level. But as you start moving up in ranks, then they take you to the other rooms that have other stuff. And they pass on certain knowledge and certain initiations. Let me tell you something. Whatever it is, if you're not that curious, and if you join, your curiosity, but they say curiosity kills the cat. If you're not that curious, don't join. But if you're curious, you got to understand that once you join, you can never get out. The one memory I do have as a child growing up with a father that was a member of the Masonry or lodge, I remember the funerals. Whenever he would go to a funeral, it was so elaborate that you would think a king had died. That's how elaborate those funerals are.
You want to be? I might get me one of the more women look the same.
That's what they all end up saying at the end of the day. Kevin told you he wasn't going to wear no dress until they offered him the dress, and then he put it on. And what did he say after he wore it? I made my own decision. Duh. But you didn't make it before they brought it up, did you? It's okay. All right.
So that is my little Illuminati story, or lodge, or Masonry, whatever you choose to call it. If you are not willing to pay the price, don't join. Because we know that if you join, it's for life. You can never get out. And when you join, you are required to do some things you might not want to do. Maybe like wearing a dress. This is all alleged, but so many black men have put on dresses, and I'm thinking maybe they joined the secret society. And that was one of the requirements, because I can't imagine all these black men that are so burly and husky and robust and a man's man putting on dresses for no good reason. Except, in my mind, this is alleged, maybe they joined the secret society. That is one of the requirements. It's like joining a fraternity. That there are rules and regulations you may not want to do. Maybe bark like a dog, or maybe eat a whole bunch of sardines, and you don't want to, but you have to because it's part of the initiation. So in this next clip, we hear from Dr. Ian as he talks to WGN News
about why he was chosen when he was at Harvard to join a secret society. Let's take a listen.
A secret society is about elevating members above others, us versus them. In the Ivy League, secret societies are the elite among the elite, and members often become world leaders. I sat down with one man who was telling his story, and he's not your typical Ivy League secret society member. Shadow societies have existed for centuries. At one time, Christianity was a secret society to avoid Roman persecution. Founding fathers like Washington and Franklin were Freemasons. The Mafia is a secret society. There are many reasons to join, but at the core is status, favoritism, and power. The movie The Skulls captured the imagination of one of these secret societies, Skull and Bones at Yale University. The film hit the box office in 2000 as a Skull and Bones member was running for office, George W. Bush. Other members included his father and grandfather, as well as Senator John Kerry. Skull and Bones was started in 1832 when people were starting to become suspicious of organizations like the Freemasons. So two men decided to make their college fraternity a secret society. Alphonso Taft, father of President Howard Taft, and a merchant named William Huntington Russell made his fortune transporting opium. For centuries, secret societies like these were for white men, primarily from established and wealthy families. Ian Smith, one of the few African Americans chosen for one of Harvard's secret societies, the Delphic Club. Why did they pick you?
You know, it's been several decades since I was a member of the club or joined the club, and I have no idea why they chose me. I am everything that a club is not. I'm African American. I was not wealthy by any stretch of imagination. I come from a working class family. I had no legacy whatsoever at Harvard or in this kind of elite world. I don't know why they chose me, and they don't tell you why they chose you.
Under his dorm room door in 1988, he received an invitation with 3 blue torches. That card opened a door to a world most never see.
You do learn very quickly how important these clubs are, not just socially, but historically speaking. And they're very different from fraternities in the sense of they are more formal. They tend to be more elegant. They have a lot more money.
Money, women, parties, exotic trips, and cars.
I remember things that happened in the club that were they brought to the fore now in the environment and the era that we are in, those people who participate in those activities would be held very accountable and would have a negative impact.
Plus, secrecy gives an air of prestige. Very few get behind the door of the Delphic. Sure, Ian Smith was a great student and athlete, but he was not like the others. He grew up in a working-class neighborhood in Danbury, Connecticut, with a single mom.
You know, I think I was a pretty fun guy and, you know, affable. I didn't have a lot of hang-ups, and so I think that the guys just probably liked me.
But were you conflicted going in, knowing the history of these groups and how they typically had viewed African Americans or even people who didn't come from the power structure of the East?
Yes, for years, these clubs have kept out people like myself, African Americans, people who don't come from money. And so here I was, almost feeling like I was betraying my past because I was joining a club that stood for things that either demeaned or didn't represent where I came from. And so, yeah, that was problematic for me, but my curiosity won over.
Did you justify it by saying, hey, maybe I can reform this group from the inside?
So I felt like I'm not going to sit here and paint myself as a radical, like I had this kind of, you know, revolutionary idea going into these clubs because I was just a kid. But I did feel like, well, maybe if I get in and they realize that guys like me are good guys, even though I'm not rich, and though I'm African American, that we're good guys and like to hang around with me, and maybe they'll let more in.
The Delphic Club is a secret society at Harvard. Dr. Ian Smith says there's top-notch security here because over the years, people have tried to break in to discover the rare books, artwork, and valuable artifacts that are inside. It's part of the plot of Smith's new book, The Ancient Nine, an elite secret society working within the secret Delphic Club. The story reveals the thoughts and motives behind young men who are already in the competitive world of the Ivy League. For most people who go to a school like Harvard, you're going to do all right, right? And so what kind of leg up does this give you?
The intimacy of these clubs allows you to have access to extremely powerful people who are not powerful while you're undergraduates, because you're all undergrads, but when you get out of school and they become the head of different commissions in the government, they become CEOs, they become big partners of law firms. You know, you're dealing with some pretty heavy people, and because you're a club member, you have direct access to them.
These Ivy League secret societies have generated leaders from Wall Street to Washington, a world that includes banking with dictators or CIA assassinations. That doesn't mean they're driven by some secret handshake from college. As students, some are driven by a thirst for power, others by family legacy. Smith says he was driven primarily by curiosity.
I come from the other side of the tracks, and so I was interested to see, you know, how they talk. What do they do on their downtime? What does it look like?
Did you find the kids of wealthy families were perhaps not as happy as you would think they would be as a kid who was not wealthy?
They were what I expected in the sense of, you know, these elite, very privileged kids who had a very different lifestyle that to me was very surreal. When you are a grounded person and you are confident in who you are and what you are, the environment will not have such an impact on you that you lose the core of your being.
That was a very good insight that Dr. Ian gave us into the secret society group he had joined when he was at Harvard.
So pretty much, guys, if you are very good in your skin, you don't have any type of inferiority complex, and you know who you are. You're grounded in a sense of who you are as a human being. There's no reason to join these clubs because all it is, like Dr. Ian said, it's a lifestyle that is rooted in privilege.
On that note, I'm over now. Don't forget to hit the like bell, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so as yet. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching.